On this episode of Conspiracy Realists.
It was fast, and it was just a one-time thing, but...
Because we're not a cult. We would never start a cult.
I think our privilege is showing.
But get better at titles, Corinne.
Brush your teeth, at least!
Your own hours. Your own boss. Avon. We're here for you.
Whoa. I'm walking here. Jesus Christ. Welcome back to YouTube.com, the only website where you can watch shoes and Smosh videos and Charlie the Unicorn.
We're back here with Shoes 2, More Shoes, and Food Battle 2022. Will it be pink donut, or will it be my asshole?
Only time will tell. You know what? I want to stop doing the what's going on YouTube, because I've had several people be like, "Oh, is it a YouTube thing?" And they think I'm seriously.
Oh.
They think I'm seriously doing an intro like that and not making fun of YouTubers that do an intro like that. Which, I guess, if you don't get it, you don't get it. I shouldn't have to change my elite sense of humor for you, but
Yeah, it's called satire. Look it up.
I guess if there's power in belief, so if they believe that I'm just doing the intro like that as YouTube, then I basically just am.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, I was ranking, us up there with the likes of, Vonnegut and other famous satirists.
Ah, yes.
I was like, our podcast is basically on that level. Like, we talk about bathwater, and we say, "What's up, YouTube?" at the beginning. So it's pretty top tier.
You wouldn't understand.
It's
a Jersey thing. It's a Jersey thing. I don't know what else to tell you. It's just... Oh, speaking of which, today is the 13th episode of Conspiracy Realists. And the Jersey Devil was the 13th kid of Mama Leeds.
Ah, yeah, it's the f***ing Jersey episode.
Welcome to Old Jersey, where the Jersey Devils it might have still been New Jersey back then, so I don't really know, but I'll tell you what's not new. Pastrami, salami, pepperoni,
Sorry, that last one wasn't meat. That's my cousin. His name's Ronnie. We call him Pepperoni because he's
Ronnie Pepperoni. Oh, you gotta go see my friend Ronnie Pepperoni. He makes the best pastrami.
Pepperoni really likes Peppa the Pig. It's his favorite television show.
I'm gonna put a ball gag in your mouth. And welcome back to Conspiracy Realists, the only podcast that will find your IP address and steal your credit card information. Sorry, it won't. Today we're going to be talking about a thing. It's, what do I even refer to this as? The Hat Man. I'm just gonna come out and say it. The Hat Man.
The Hat Man. I keep in my head I'm the Hat Man.
Bottom ba skibidi. I keep thinking I'm Hat Man.
That's probably better. That's more fitting.
Well, who is the guy with the hat from James Bond? Odd Job.
Yeah.
He'd throw the hat. There's many hat men. An Ong's hat in the Pine Barrens.
Any relation?
No.
Do we think?
We'll get to it. Anyways, if you haven't heard of what this is...
But wait, if you haven't heard of who we are, I'm Austin Harvey. This is Nick Sarnelli. It's Nick Sarnelly.
It's Sicilian you stupid piece of shit. I'll kill you.
But it sounds more elegant, and it's...
Right. It's a beautiful... Yeah. It's a beautiful language, truly.
Yeah, it is. It is truly. So we're here. We're doing our pod. It's weekly. It's comedy. It's up your asshole. So let's get into it. The Hat Man.
Up your asshole. Let's get into it. That was a good segue. I like that.
Yeah, thank you.
That was a little subtle. So the Hat Man. So if you haven't heard of this, it's been circling around like Twitter and TikTok and all the stuff that the kids are on.
Yeah, them social medias.
Lately, I've been seeing like more and more about it, even though I had heard about it before. I've been seeing like a lot more people coming out and saying like, "Oh my god, I've seen that. I've seen that." As far as what it is, it's this weird common phenomenon of people like in a sleeping state, like sleep paralysis or like a lucid dream, seeing this silhouette or shadow-like figure of a man who's wearing a hat. And it's really just what it is. Like he just watches, or it, there's nothing particularly violent about it. And this is hundreds of people claim they've seen this, and I have too. Ripley's believe what you want, buddy. But I have a shared experience myself, and I am happy to talk about it with some other stuff along with that, other than my
yeah. This is not just your therapy.
No. Yeah, this is no, absolutely not. It's sort of, but well, it's interesting that we talked about this on a previous podcast episode. I don't remember which one.
Well, yeah, when was that? Because that was when I also talked about
Man Ray.
Yeah, I think that was episode 3.
Yeah, it was something like that. Because I told the story on that one, but I'll tell it again.
Well, it's funny too because I brought this up to my girlfriend earlier, and I was like, "Oh yeah, Nick sent me a Google Doc about the Hat Man, so we're talking about the Hat Man tonight." And she's like, "Wait, what's that?" And I was like, "What, the Hat Man? It's like a sleep paralysis thing, I think." And she goes, "Is it like a wide-brimmed kind of hat?" And I looked it up and I showed her a picture. I was like, "Yeah, it looks like this." And she's like, "Oh my god, I saw him, but he had like a plague doctor mask too." And I was like, "Oh, neat." And she was like, "No,
not neat.
Not neat. Very, very scary."
Yeah. I don't suffer from sleep paralysis. That's a thing that's only happened to me once. But the one time it happened, I saw fucking Hat Man.
Yeah, that's unsettling to say the least.
In my experience, too, like it seems like there's slight variations to people's, but the common thing is it's just a shadow figure. You can't make out any features, and he's wearing the wide-brimmed hat. Mine, I feel like, was wearing like a winter coat and boots along with the hat. Mm-hmm. I don't remember, like, I don't exactly remember the hat. I feel like it did have a hat. It was a long time ago, and obviously I was in a up state, so it wasn't like something I remember vividly, but I remember being scared out of my mind.
Yeah, because yours was also like a mild kind of like out-of-body experience too.
Yeah, because what happened was I see the Hat Man, and I'm watching myself get carried away from my own body.
Yeah, funnily, so when I was talking to my girlfriend earlier, had sleep paralysis, and she's had it several times, but this time she watched herself get up and walk to the window, so very similar to your thing, where it was like kind of out of body, and she saw the Hat Man out on the street.
Oh, that.
And then when she blinked, she was laying back in bed, unable to move, and he was standing at the foot of the bed staring at her.
Bro, that's maybe the worst one. She had the worst one happen. That's the worst one out of any of the that I've seen on Reddit threads and everything, because I have several stories of people's accounts. That is that is by far the worst.
Yeah, and she said her partner at the time just shook her awake, was like, "Why are you screaming?" And she's like, "I was screaming."
I remember, and it's weird too that everyone that describes it says he like sucks the breath right out of you, puts pressure on your chest.
That's what she said.
That's
she
what
said
happens
he came
during,
over and
that's what,
yeah.
And that's what happened to me as well. I remember like struggling to breathe and like freaking out and like thinking, "Oh my god, I'm gonna die." But I was also, it was so weird. But like it's like I guess that happens in sleep paralysis no matter what, whether you're seeing this.
Yeah, people report talk about like old women sitting on their chest or aliens or whatever, but still
it's some sort of crippling feeling in the chest.
Yeah, and the more specific you get with it, when it goes, it's like, "Oh, I saw like an alien was sitting on my chest." It's like, okay, sure, alien. Yeah. Oh, an old woman. Yeah, old women are creepy, gross. But when it's like, "Oh yeah, man in a wide-brimmed hat," well, like it's not a common fear. No one's like, "Oh man, I'm really afraid of the wide-brimmed hat men." Like it's
it's creepy because of, well, one, the lack of control, and two, the amount of people that have seen the same thing.
Right, with no previous context.
Right,
if everyone
right.
was like, if everyone was like, "Oh man, I saw Pennywise, I saw a killer clown, or I saw a skeleton, or like, Frankenstein," like something that's like a archetypal horror thing, it'd be like, "Oh, okay, sure, that's like your subconscious." You could explain that away very easily, but like, why a guy in a wide-brimmed hat?
And
that's
not,
terrifying.
yeah, it's not like it's this huge thing, right? And like now more so now than ever, people are talking about it. But it wasn't initially like this. Oh, everyone's talking about it, so I'm gonna say that I saw it too. These were isolated incidents that these people all experienced separately from one another.
Yeah, very weird.
There's not a lot of research that goes into it. There's sleep studies out the ass, but stuff on sleep paralysis and hallucination sleep paralysis is not as common. There was a book by Shelley Adler. She has a book on sleep paralysis, and basically what she describes it as is an individual in the process of falling asleep or awakening finds himself or herself completely awake but unable to move or speak. Frequently, he or she sees a shadowy or indistinct shape approaching and becomes increasingly terrified.
Every time we talk about sleep paralysis, I'm afraid I'm going to experience it for the first time, and I'm like, can I not?
Can I not do that?
I just spent the past 3 days like not sleeping alone, and then tonight I'm back in my apartment, and it's gonna be like the night that it happened. I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna have to deal with that.
I mean, I never had sleeping problems in my life. This was a totally random, isolated event. It happened that one night, and I was so terrified to go back to sleep.
I don't think I would. I think I'd stay up and I'd sleep during the daylight hours.
It was weird because it was fast and it was just a one-time thing, but I'm pretty sure that's the most afraid I've ever felt in my life. The fear, the primal fear of like forgetting all logic of the world and just experiencing that in the moment.
Yeah, because you're waking up and you can't move or speak or really do anything, and like, I mean, I get freaked out just going to take a piss in the middle of the night. Like, I'm like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, seriously.
So like, I can't imagine just waking up in a dark room and just being like, I can't move. What is that? Shit. What just happened? Like, it's just, there's no, like, it's all the weird logic of dreams, but brought into real life, and that's terrible.
Oh, yeah, absolutely horrifying. I read a Quartz News article it has a stupid-ass title, Why Everyone Around the World is Having the Same Nightmare, by Corinne Pertil. No, it's a great article, though.
But get better at titles, Corinne.
It's just very, like, I don't know. They're not having the same nightmare, per se.
Yeah.
But maybe I'm being picky. I'm sorry, Corinne. You had a great article and brought a lot of good information. But, and she says, people who, well, I don't think she says, she researches, this is in her article, there. People who wake in the night and feel paralyzed with terror aren't crazy or imagining things during the rapid eye movement stage of sleep, which is also called REM sleep. I'm sure everyone's heard of that. The muscles relax to the point where they become immobilized, probably to keep us from finally acting out our dreams. This is also the stage of the most intense dreams. So people who experience sleep paralysis have essentially woken up before they've stopped dreaming. They also say it's an incredibly common sleep problem. Estimated 8% of people experience it regularly, and some estimates have placed the number of people who have had at least one experience of it in their lifetime as high as 40%, which makes sense for some of the people like me who it's just happened to, like, isolated.
But man, 8% of people have it regularly. That's f***ed. That is f***ed.
Well, it makes me think of like stuff like sleep apnea and stuff, because that can kill you too. Like, you can stop breathing in your sleep.
I'm curious if those 8% is it every time? Is it just terrifying, or are you just like, here we go again?
Hey, Hat Man.
Hey, how you doing? It's me, the Hat Man. Don't buy stock in Vine.
Thanks, man. About a decade too late on that, but thanks.
Time works different here. In Hat World. Welcome to Hat World, where we've got all the hats you can eat.
Hey, these are all wide-brimmed hats, sir.
There's other kind of hats.
It's like, you go to the mall, you're walking around, you're like, there's the food court, there's the JCPenney's, you're walking by Sears. Ooh, look, is that an H&M over there? Next to what used to be a Forever 21, but it's closed now? Aw, man, doesn't it suck that American Industries... Hey, wait a minute, what's that place? Lids? Is that Lids over there? The place that only sells hats?
Yo, welcome to Lids. It's me, Hat Man.
Hey, wait a second, Lids seems different than it used to be, right? Didn't they used to sell, like, ball caps? What is going on here?
Hello, child. It's me. Go to sleep.
What? He drags you over to the... what's the place with the big bean? Love Sack. He drags you over to Love Sack. Lays you down.
Now, do you
You're
think
not a statutory with a goatee. You're just the Hat Man.
That's
Where's my
right.
regular Lids employee?
No offense to all the Lids employees out there, but...
No, most of you are good guys. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
but maybe
That
work
was-
somewhere
that
else.
That was Zoomies too. Get it together, guys.
Yeah.
Now we're not going to have fans from Jersey or from Zoomies.
Well, it's their fault because everyone there wears that T-shirt. It's the black T-shirt, and it has a pocket over your left nipple, and you pull it down, and there's the cat giving you the middle finger.
I know.
Yeah, everyone knows what I'm talking about. We've all seen the shirt, and everyone at Zoomies owns it. It's like, it is the uniform, unofficially.
Like, has anyone ever actually bought a skateboard at Zoomies? Got my new board from Zoomies. Is that a thing? 'Cause
No.
it doesn't seem like it's a thing. It seems like Zoomies, it feels like people that actually skate laugh at Zoomies.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's that's the number 2 sentence that no one's ever said. Number 2 sentence no one's ever said is, check out this board I got at Zoomies. Number 1 is, I'm a cuck and I feel good about myself.
You got to find a way to f***ing shit all over cups every podcast. I think that says more about you than it does about them. So that was a tangent.
How did we get here? How did we get to Zoomies? And why are we here? Why?
I think I have something else from that Quartz article.
Oh yeah, there's a whole other...
Another thing from that book that Adler wrote. This article references her book as well. She says, for people who have nightmares outside of a cultural framework of understanding, draw upon a contemporary narrative in interpreting their experiences, such as one derived from medicine or psychiatry, for example, heart disease or mental illness, religion. They manifest it as demons or the paranormal, including alien abductions like you said earlier. Mm-hmm. It seems to be the access to unlimited media has had a play in shared experience, I suppose, of seeing these things.
Yeah, sort of contributing to like the collective perception of this. And what I think is really interesting, and I know we haven't talked about it on the pod. Actually, I forget why you sent it to me in the first place, but you sent me that article about the Dark Watchers of California.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, I totally forget the context of that. But
me too.
They also had that, like, a similar appearance to the Hat Man. They had that kind of, like, wide-brimmed hat, very dark, and just people would see them. I'm going to look that up, actually. Where was that in California? A group of entities in Californian folklore purportedly seen observing travelers along the Santa Lucia Mountains. That's it. Yeah, I'm looking at a photo. They look like the Hat Man.
That's another thing, because some people have talked about experiencing this, but it wasn't just one Hat Man, it was several. So it's like a race of Hat Men. Another thing on that article, it says many people who experience sleep paralysis also experience hallucinations. Vivid images perceived in the transition from wakefulness to sleep, like I said earlier, or the other way around. Spiders or insects crawling up the walls is a common one, according to Alon Avidan. Alon Avidan. According to Alon Avidan, a professor of neurology at the University of California, Los Angeles, and the director of the UCLA Sleep Disorder Center. And human-shaped figures are also common, which makes sense. They say these episodes are often accompanied by a profound sense of fear and anxiety, and a sense that something is trying to harm them, like pressing down on the chest or what have you.
Yeah, I'm very curious if there's a relationship between people who experience sleep paralysis and like particularly traumatic life events, or if it is just kind of random.
Right, like the regular sleep paralysis.
Yeah,
because I don't happen to be once.
Right. Yeah, because I mean I've been especially stressed in life, but it's something I've never experienced. I'm so curious as to what like the trigger is. Basically, I want to know because I want to know if I should worry. Like, am I good? Am I good, or am I gonna? Is this like? Should I?
Does everybody make it out without having it once?
Yeah, should I lay off the melatonin supplements? Actually, I should. You probably should because they're unregulated. But like,
But man, do they work.
yeah, if I eat my grandma's
Ass.
cheesy
Sorry.
potatoes.
Sorry.
If I eat my grandma's ass before I go to bed, am I more likely?
Brush your teeth at least.
No, it's I brush my teeth and then I eat the ass.
Oh, well, okay, that makes sense.
I want to dirty that pristine beehole. Ew.
Sorry.
So sorry. Sometimes I'll gargle mouthwash and spit it up.
Like a bidet. A minty bidet. I'm telling people pay to hear people say the disgusting shit we say on this podcast for free.
So basically what we're saying is if you want to hear us say more disgusting shit, let us know.
If you're a sick little puppy.
And you want to hear if you just want to hear the down and dirty, let us know, and we might start like an audio OnlyFans or some shit. I don't know.
Could happen. Do anything for money.
It could happen. I would do many things for money. But all right, so media might be a potential influencer.
Yeah, like another thing that I saw that was pretty common in a lot of the articles that I was reading about it say that they think it directly relates to Freddy Krueger based on the fact that he wears a hat and kills people in dreams.
I forgot Freddy Krueger wore a hat.
Yeah, so that's like the easiest association that I think people have with it. And I think it's too easy. I'm not on board with the Freddy Krueger.
I'm kind of with you on that because I think if it was a Freddy Krueger thing, wouldn't you just see Freddy Krueger? Like, it's like the striped shirt and like the everything with it, not just...
Well, Nightmare on Elm Street came out in 1984, and there's stories of this well before 84. So, like, it's not, It'd
be crazy if, like, you went back and, like, some ancient Greek dude or, like, ancient Roman or even older than that was, like, writing down the Hat Man shit before they even had hats. It's just... a man with a saucer head or something, and you're like, wait a second.
It was on.
It was on.
He lost his hat in the tree. He never got it down. They named the whole town after it. His legacy was being a fucking idiot. So now he ascends from the fourth dimension and watches people sleep.
That's right, James. It was me, the Ong of all your pain.
Where even was it? What? Freddy Krueger. Off of that, some theorize it's like the intangible idea of just the Grim Reaper, not like the pop culture guy in a hood, skeleton man with a scythe that we've come to know, but like a sleep paralysis temporarily sending you like in a state between beings or planes of existence or whatever, where you're alive but getting a glimpse into this other world, whatever that is.
That's like horrifying.
Yeah, and the conduit that links life and death is the Grim Reaper as we know it. So he is what we see briefly before coming back into our normal state of existence because he's our link to that other world.
Oh, that's really freaky. Now, admittedly, I think the Grim Reaper gets a bad rap.
Sure.
Everyone's like, oh, he's so spooky. I mean, he's just the guy who shows up to, if anything, he's your buddy. He takes you into the next world.
He's your guy, River Styx.
Yeah, he's like the dude. Like, you're dead, you're confused, he shows up.
Do you think that now that the band Styx has made a song called Come Sail Away, that the Grim Reaper now plays Come Sail Away on the River of Styx in honor of Styx?
I think it's a two-parter. I think you die, and the first thing you hear is Don't Fear the Reaper by Blue Oyster Cult.
That's fair.
And then it goes into Styx.
Right, because they don't want you to be afraid at first.
Right, yeah. You wake up and you're like, oh, you probably have a headache. Let's just assume you have a headache when you die. You go, oh, what did I drink last night? What is that? And there's like a light, like not a bright light, not like a light at the end of the tunnel kind of light, but like, it's very dark and there's like it kind of looks like a flickering torch in the distance. And oh, what is that? Ooh, is that Blue Oyster Cult? Is that it? Am I about to walk into a projected screening of the SNL bit where the cowbell with the cowbell and the Will Ferrell and the Chris Walken, and you're Chris walking over there, and then and then it transitions to Styx as you approach, and you're like, oh, I'm dead. Ah. But I think the freakier part of it is that what's he doing there? Like the Grim Reaper shows up to
listen. Here's one thing I know for a fact: if you own a boat, you're gonna let people know you own a fucking boat, and that's exactly what the Grim Reaper does.
Hello, child. I have a pontoon. It's pretty sick, isn't it? I get so many bitches on this thing.
You can't move or speak, or he's just able to tell you all about it.
Well, one of the fucking funniest parts of most of the depictions of the River Styx boat is like just a fucking canoe with a paddle.
Yeah.
It's just this shit boat.
Maybe at its best, it's like a gondola.
He's so proud of it.
And then he starts like serenading you with an accordion. And you're like, dude.
Have you ever been down the rivers of Venice?
Death sucks. Capital D, Death. He's the
guy.
Yeah, he's a piece of shit. He sucks, man.
I don't got anything against Blue Oyster Cult and Styx, but I mean, he was milking it.
Yeah. When you start playing Don't Fear the Reaper on the fucking accordion,
and to him, that's just the song that says "Don't fear me." It's a little self-masturbatory.
It's over the top. It's too much. And by the third time, you're like, dude, learn another song. There are so many songs.
And the line is so long, so you hear it over and over again.
He plays it for every person.
Everyone.
In full, he will play it. So if you're second in
hell.
line...
You don't even need to go to hell, because that's hell.
If you're second in line, you're
You finally get to hell, and you're like, there's more?
It's just 7 demons dressed as the Hat Man, also playing Don't Fear the Reaper on different instruments.
Bet you thought it was over.
Devil's like,
yeah, we used to like flay people and rip their toenails out and then grow their toenails back and then rip them out again. But then we learned that psychological torture leaves the deepest scars.
It's true. We have this one guy hooked up. He can play he's only allowed to play Pac-Man for eternity, and when he's right about to get the final dot and beat the level, it blacks out and he has to start over again.
that is like... It's like,
isn't that infuriating?
That's modern day Sisyphus, is what it is.
Like, yeah. Hey, listen. If you're listening to this podcast, don't do that to someone. That is absolutely a tool of torture that I should not have disclosed.
You know what would be worse though? Tetris.
Oh, you don't get to feel the snap.
You're about to have the ultimate Tetris. Like, let's say like everything's packed to the brim, and there's just one sliver of a spot. And you're right as you're about to sink it, you're about to sink that last piece in.
You just see your own fucking face.
Yeah, you just have to see yourself go from excited to disappointed.
That is cruel. That is straight up cruel.
And every time it's the same set of moves, you get the same pieces in the same order. So eventually you get into the routine of like, I know exactly what I need to do to get the ultimate score in this game of Tetris. But every time, right when you're about to do it, what are you going to do? You're in hell. You can't like...
You got nothing else going on too. You have to be doing this. This is all you know. I'm not saying like... Yeah, there's much worse physical and psychological horrors that could be done, but if that was just your world, it would still suck so bad.
It happened to you, like they're like every day 30 people are gonna burst into a room and rip you limb from limb and eat you, and you're gonna feel all of it. It's like, well, I don't know, after 800 years of doing that, that's just my threshold for pain has changed, and so I'm just like, okay.
It might feel weird not having it happen.
Right? Yeah, you're kind of just used to it. You're like, oh, I don't know. There's something about the excitement of almost winning a game of Tetris and losing that just never fades.
I think our privilege is showing. The worst thing that could ever happen is not being able to finish Tetris.
Yep. What were we talking about before all this?
The Hat Man.
Oh, right. Where are we?
Well, I wanted to talk about the game Red Dead Redemption, the first Red Dead Redemption. I believe he makes an appearance in the second one. I'm not exactly sure. There's a stranger mission, one of those random missions that you just find like random people out and like do missions with them, that seems to be inspired by the Hat Man, because this character is literally, you can see him, his features, but he's literally like this weird mysterious guy in a suit with a hat on.
Oh yeah.
Like the main theory of who he is in Red Dead Redemption is the Grim Reaper. So it's just like weird that it has that big of a similarity.
Yeah,
it feels like that character in Red Dead is directly inspired by the Hat Man.
Yeah, and Red Dead had like a bunch of cool. They had like the Bigfoot mission.
Yeah.
And all the like the different 5 horses of the apocalypse.
Yeah, that was in the Undead Nightmare DLC. So I do have. Oh, go ahead.
Before we get into it, though, I have to pee. So bad.
Tiny black.
I knew that was the moment to transition, and I was like, wait.
Thank you guys for tuning into Conspiracy Realists, the only podcast where we take pee breaks. I've done it. Austin's done it. Absolutely no. There's no hate. If you gotta go, you gotta go. That's our policy here. So nobody gets judged. It's a judge-free zone. Ain't no room for hate in this world. But I figured now would be a good time to plug one of our newest, how should I say this, items on the store. This item is sort of a coveted thing. Basically, with the bathwater sales not doing so great, I really thought they would be better. I don't know how all these idiots can sell their bathwater and we can't. It's a little demoralizing, but you gotta pick your head up. Keep going. Basically, what we're gonna do now is sell nothing. We're not selling anything anymore. I'm done with it. I've washed my hands of it. I do not want to sell anything anymore because nobody buys it. You try to be an entrepreneur, but it doesn't work out. It doesn't always work out.
You ever have those like random thoughts that you like see inspiration for something and then your mind goes off like 30 different directions with it?
Yeah.
Well, I was peeing and I looked to my left and I saw my shower / bathtub and I thought, no one's buying the bathwater, so maybe we should just sell nothing. But I mean, but yeah, it was just
yeah, absolutely. I mean, we don't.
Yeah, no, just like a very
just
random, uninspired thought.
Weird that you said that, man. Weird that you said that, because I was kind of thinking the same thing.
See, yeah, I said we're like psychically linked,
like twins.
After we did that
thing.
Ritual to summon the Jersey Devil.
Right now, our Blue Oyster cult.
Yeah. Us, the founders of the cult of the Blue Oyster. The collective, the Blue Oyster Collective, because we're not a cult. We would never start a cult.
Oh, no, absolutely, yeah. First rule of being in a cult is not referring to your own cult as a cult, because what would be the point?
And we wouldn't do that anyway.
Right.
But we are the founders of the Blue Oyster Collective, and if anybody wants to join, our message is simple. Our goal is peaceful. It is just a group of people who are like-minded individuals, all pretty much seeking one purpose, and that is to establish evidence and find a purpose for life, mostly through the Jersey Devil.
Basically 100% through the Jersey Devil.
So what we're going to do, we're going to find him, we're going to worship him, and we're going to, he's our god. But it's not a cult.
Not a cult.
It's a collective. It's a collective. Yeah.
Peace and love. And little donuts.
Yeah, peace and love. We only speak through dances like bees. Like bees speak through dances. And our queen is a king and he is the Jersey Devil. But other than that, pretty normal shit. It's a tax write-off at the very least.
Oh, absolutely.
So.
I mean, that's not why. But...
Right, yeah. I mean, the membership fee is massive. But it's a tax write-off, so it's fine. Because we are technically a charity.
Right. So don't even...
And also a religion.
So don't worry about it.
But not a cult.
Not a cult. Don't worry about it.
The easiest way to send money is through the Acast supporter feature.
And who knows? You might wake up with a little mason jar of bathwater under your pillow.
It might just be there from the bathwater fairy theirself.
That's right. So I do have just to wrap this up. I do have a Reddit thread that has a bunch of people confirming that they've seen this as well, which obviously people could be making it up, but I don't know. It's just, there was a lot. This was just one of the threads about it, by a user named EV6106, and there's like over 100 comments in this just one thread. A lot of the comments are jokes and shit, obviously, but the overwhelming majority of people are saying things like, you know, he's asking, have you seen the Hat Man, and describing what it is. And somebody says,
yes, just once. I think I had sleep paralysis and he was standing in the doorway peeking in. I wonder why this is such a common experience.
Another says,
he usually visits me in my dreams when I sleep somewhere other than at home. Then he just sits silently in a corner and watches me while I sleep.
I don't like that one.
Another one says,
it is so weird. I still remember seeing the Hat Man when I was a child. It was really disconcerting. I met him during my sleep paralysis, but he had a little more weight. His clothes were dark olive green, and he sat at the end of my bed. He did nothing except sitting calmly at the edge and staring at the ground.
What the f***? I actually saw him. Why is everyone seeing this man?
Yeah, one time I saw him, and I think it was in an alleyway. I couldn't breathe, and when I woke up, my head was face down on my pillow, and I couldn't move it for a few seconds.
I've experienced this multiple times, actually. He's always peeking around doorways or through windows, never directly coming at me, only watching.
So it seems like the vast majority of people that experience are just having him watch them.
Ugh.
And that was like, how many was it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That was about 7 that I just pulled out of this 100 comment thread. That's mostly stories like that.
Yeah, in a separate tab, I have an entirely different Reddit thread. Also titled,
I bet.
Has anyone seen this man, the Hat Man? And like, yeah, and this one's from like 5 months ago, but yeah, yeah, you can find so many Reddit threads about this shit. It's terrifying.
Yeah, it's definitely a creepy thing, and being somebody who's part of this shared phenomenon, it makes it super interesting to talk about for me, because whether you believe it's some otherworldly being or just some funny hallucinogenic coincidence, it's scary.
It's so fascinating to me. I think it's such an interesting thing that can happen, like whether it's the Hat Man or just, you know, I've never even just sat in a room and seen a picture frame fall off a wall unprovoked by material matter. So like, to me, I'm always like, oh yeah, man, like I love watching horror movies. I love watching Ghost Adventures hosted by Zach Bagans. Like, I think that shit is so interesting, but I personally have actually never had experienced phenomenon like that. And I'm partly thankful for that because it's terrifying. And I don't want to, but also I'm like, it'd be neat. It'd be...
Might be where your interest in that derives from, the fact that you've never...
Probably, yeah. Because it's like, I'm kind of just... Life can be boring sometimes, you know. Like in Final Fantasy, there are turtles that have mountains as backs, and that's dope.
Right.
And we don't have anything like that. So like ghosts and shit is pretty close. But also, ew, it's big spooky, man. I don't want to wake up and see
big spooky.
Hat Man staring at me. I don't want to see it.
Yeah, no, I don't know, but no one does. I tend to lean more towards the shared subconscious imagery for sleep paralysis, just because many people tend to share, you know, similar visual experiences under a number of different health-related issues. Like people that trip often talk about seeing similar things as each other. Right. I don't remember exactly what they see, but I know there's like a few things that like everyone that trips sees, or like it's a very common thing to see where you trip.
Yeah.
Depending on the drug and whatnot. Also, people that got really close to death, or people that like died briefly but were brought back, they share similar stories. So it seems like there might just be some part of the brain that's typically shared in some way between people that experience these specific things. It's become more popular. It's become, like, I've seen it more with the Hat Man in recent years. So some will say, because so many people are talking about it now, that's why these people are saying they're experiencing it. But my personal experience, and many others that have talked on these threads and stuff, they seem to have experienced these in completely isolated situations, unaware of the shared phenomenon, unaware of the trend. So could it be some interdimensional Grim Reaper type entity, or several of them, or something like that? But I follow that. Like, I get that line of thinking, but there's no evidence, obviously, to support
right. But
that.
I don't know. I don't want to rule that out, because like it's weird, because it's like, well, like we were saying earlier, like if you saw something that was just like a typical archetypal horror film trope, okay, so my biggest thing is like every horror movie for a while had just a girl with long black hair and a white dress, because The Ring girl.
Yeah.
What's her name? Samara?
Yeah.
Is it Samara?
I don't remember, but it's
Something like that. But like that,
and that even comes from The Lady in White, the old like folktale.
Right. It all stems from a very specific thing, and then it became a pop culture phenomenon, and then it was like, oh, everyone's doing the black-haired girl in the white dress thing, because that's what we consider creepy.
Right.
And so, but they're like, sure, Nightmare on Elm Street, Freddy Krueger wore a fedora, but he
also had giant claw fingers.
Right, and that's not a common element in these stories.
Yeah, never.
It's weirdly Puritan, like Puritan American.
Yeah.
Which could date back to, you can trace that directly back to like the witch trials. But
Right.
so I don't know, it's so weird. You could argue genetic causes for that, like
that's true.
we came to associate these things as hostile and
right, and since people constantly evolve.
Yeah, but human evolution is weirdly stunted, I feel like.
Well, sure, but like as far as like shared subconscious shit, I don't know.
Well, because the shared conscious thing that's like that's a totally other big. We could do 7 parts on the shared subconscious.
That's a whole
that people talk about, but it is interesting, because it's like maybe we don't have like a cloud brain, but genetic things are more subtle. Like, we're not all growing webbed feet, but maybe we all, like, as a result of the 1700s, don't like guys in pilgrim hats. Like,
right. Well, and everybody has sensory reactions that are shared, and danger reactions, and a lot of people sense danger, not in like the Spider-Man sense, but like in a weird, you know what I mean? Like when you get that feeling in your gut, you know, people talk about that. So like there could be a visual version of that in some weird way.
Right.
Where when you're in this specific state of sleep paralysis, you see this.
Right.
Not always, but it's very common.
And then the other end of the spectrum is that every human psychology is different. And so, like, my fears are not your fears, are not somebody else's fears. So, theoretically, like, we would all have different nightmares that would be individualized to us. Like, my nightmares tend to involve ex-girlfriends and working in restaurants still, which is maybe not the case for everybody. So, like, why would we all then see the same shape, the same, like, figure? As a fairly agnostic person, I'm still like, I don't know, man. That could just be like a weird Grim Reaper-y Dark Watchers California group of people. I don't know.
Right, and like what we perceive and what we have tried to quantify heaven, hell, the spirit world, any of this shit is probably so off from what it actually is, if it does exist. So whatever this other world is probably this weird, intangible thing that we cannot even begin to comprehend, and just getting some weird passive glimpse into it is enough that it's like that freaky and that weird.
Right. I'm that's honestly kind of where I'm leaning towards. I like the concept that people in that certain state of mind are able to see like a Grim Reaper death type figure, because I just think that's interesting. I just think that's cool to be like,
it's kind of dope.
Yeah, like, I mean, yeah, shit, man, that's way cooler than like any psychology thing. I'm gonna cast my vote for glimpses into the Grim Reaper's presence. That's where my vote goes.
I am casting my vote as weird shared consciousness, possibly genetic shared experience along the lines of people seeing similar things when they trip or seeing similar things when they die. That kind of thing.
That's fair. But I think if we have to boil it down to a very simple question, is the Hat Man real or no?
Yes.
I'm going to say yes.
Just like we said.
Yes.
Yeah, just like we said, if enough people believe and it affects people like that, then it is, whether it is a thing with thoughts that exists as a person, or that's up for debate, but it is a thing. It's real. The Hat Man is real.
Right.
People see it.
Right. I mean, it's the same thing it's what we said about the Jersey Devil, like, whether or not
it's a bat,
whether or not he was a
hoof
big bat
printed
or he was a real thing, he is a part of New Jersey's history.
Yeah. I mean, their hockey team's called the Jersey Devils,
Right.
aren't they?
Right. Yeah, they are. Yeah, and it's on like NewJersey.com. They talk about the Jersey
Yeah,
Devil.
no, that's it's like it's like the Mothman. I think
Right.
the Jersey Devil and the Mothman are two of the ones that like got traction from a specific area.
Like, all of that shit that plays into the history of a place is just as real as the place to the people. To people like us who are like 100 years removed from it, the Jersey Devil is as real to me. I've never been to New Jersey, so to me, the Jersey Devil and New Jersey are equally real because I've only ever read about them. Like,
Fair enough.
They're the same thing.
But even if it was just a giant bat, and on that line of thinking, it's still, people still thought it was the Jersey Devil, and it still affected them in the exact same way that a creature like that would affect a person because they believed it to be that.
Right, and that reveals a lot about the people at the time and just how stories are told. Like, it's incredibly interesting.
All right, hit us with the outro, man. That's all I have to say about the Hat Man.
Word. All right, well, hey, thanks for listening to this episode of Conspiracy Realists. If you have had your own Hat Man experiences, feel free to email us at 2guys@1true... Wait. If you've had your own Hat Man experiences, feel free.
All right, you're done.
Hit us up with the emails at 2guys@1. Me,
Dude.
hit us
Hold
up.
on, before you go on. Here, no, this will be like a palate cleanser, like when you eat the ginger before you try a new roll of sushi. I'll palate cleanse you. Think about this for a second. Hat Man do. Huh? Hat Man do. Hat Man do. All right, go ahead.
Okay.
Okay, all right, I'm done.
Hey, so if you've had your own Hat Man experiences, email us at 2guys1truth@gmail.com. You know, it's a pretty freeform show, so we could always just follow up with like user stories or whatever.
And like, if you want to send me pictures of ducks,
Yeah,
too,
you could also just send pictures of ducks. We could just play ducks together. We could just play duck games. So, but if none of that sounds interesting to you, if you're more of like a Twitter or Instagram fan, our Twitter handle is @RealistPod. Our Instagram is @TheConspiracyRealists. And as of right now, for the next 17 minutes after you finish this podcast, bathwater is free. And then after that, it's 3 times the price. But for the next 17 minutes, that's right, get on it. 17 starting now. We're kind of going for like a triangle structure. So if you 18 minutes from now, if you send the bathwater to your friend and you get 7 people to sign up to sell the bathwater from there, you actually earn 18% interest income from their sales. And then if each
uncapped commission, you can make $100K your first year.
You can make $100K your first year if those people all can convince other people.
How would you like to be your own boss?
Would you like
to work from home and make uncapped commission? Boy, would I!
Your own hours, your own boss, your own schedule, your own freedom. Avon, we're here for you. But thanks for listening, guys. We'll see you next week. Don't fall for any pyramid schemes other than ours in the meantime.